Have you ever found yourself in a position that just didn't feel right? You check that your feet are on footholds, but you don't feel balanced at all. This is a common scenario for some climbers, and a rather unfortunate one because all they're trying to do is follow the rules. You're told to keep both feet on footholds at all times. But sometimes, the best foothold is no foothold. Here's the good news. You don't always need both feet on footholds. One is enough most of the time. Flagging is a technique that's used to achieve balance with a leg that's not connected to a foothold. It's done in situations where there is only one available foothold, or if there are multiple footholds, only one that is practical for achieving balance. There are three types of flags: outside flag, back flag, and inside flag. This video will go over each type, the conditions needed for doing them, and their application on a variety of boulder problems. The outside flag is the most common type and is typically referred to as just flag. It's used fairly often and is the easiest to execute of the three types. In most cases, the flag is done with opposite hand and foot on holds. This means if my left hand is on a handhold, my right foot has to be on a foothold, and I will flag with my left leg. In addition to the conditions of opposite hand and foot, the holds used are generally located on the same vertical plane. When the foothold is directly beneath the handhold, the flag position is achieved naturally. When the foothold is too far ahead or behind the handhold, the body has to stretch farther. Flags can be done with the body either in a hip in or hip square position. Let's take a look at two problems where the flag can be applied. For this pink V3, I used the flag at the start of the problem. There's only one usable foothold, so I know I will have to flag. The first move involves going to a hold with my right hand, so using the rule of opposite hand and foot, which is also a condition for flagging, I place my right foot on the foothold to join the left hand on the handhold. My left leg achieves a natural flag position and my hips are square. The next flagging position is a mirror of the first, except I use my right hand with the left foot while flagging the right leg. The final flag position is done with left hand and right foot, except this time I have my right hip slightly in. This is because the handhold is a side pole, and having a hip in allows me to leverage the angle of the hold better. This second problem is a cookie-cutter example of applying the flag. The flagging positions are set up with the conditions of opposite hand and footholds on the same vertical plane perfectly met. I'm able to do the first three moves in exactly the same fashion. Because this problem is a bit steeper, having my hip in when I flag keeps my center of gravity closer to the wall. The back flag is the cute cousin of the flag. It's not seen nearly as often, but when it's spotted, it's very memorable. The first condition for a back flag is using the same side hand and foot. This makes them a lot rarer because this condition breaks the rule of opposite hand and foot. When you enter a body position using the same side hand and foot, you automatically start feeling a loss of balance. This is because same side hand and foot causes your center of gravity to fall outside your base of support, creating the swing sensation called a barn door. However, balance can be achieved in this position. By using a back flag, we move our center of gravity close to our base of support and are able to eliminate the swing. For the body to comfortably enter a back flag, the foothold can be located either ahead of the handhold or on the same vertical plane. The only other condition is that the foothold is higher up. The higher up or farther ahead the foothold, the deeper the back flag can be achieved. If the foothold is located low and on the same vertical plane as the handhold, it might make more sense to do a regular flag instead if it's convenient to switch out the feet. Because of the positioning of the move, back flags are always done with hips square. For this blue V4, the back flag position occurs when I have to bring my left hand to match my right hand. I remove my left foot from the foothold because it's a sloper and unusable for holding my position when I match. The conditions of same side hand and foot and foothold ahead of the handhold are now met. I back flag to establish a new balance point before bringing my left hand to the handhold. Here on this white V4, we encounter a very similar situation. I don't have a practical foothold for the right foot and must rely on my left hand and foot to establish a balance point. The foothold for my left is slightly ahead of the handhold, and I'm able to use the same side hand and foot to back flag before bringing my right hand in to match. Inside flag is that weird distant relative of the flag family. You might only see them once a year at the flag family reunion, and they're always a tricky one to figure out. At a glance, the inside flag looks like a hybrid of the flag and back flag. To do one, you need to be on the same side hand and foot just like a back flag, but you need to twist your hip in so that your leg flags on the inside. As far as orientation of the holds, the foothold can be anywhere from on the same vertical plane to slightly ahead of the handhold. The main difference is that the foothold should be located a bit lower compared to where it would be for a back flag. Since you have to twist our body to flag the inside leg, inside flags are always done with hip in. To be honest, I've never seen an inside flag done in person unless it was used specifically to demonstrate the technique. I haven't even heard of an inside flag until I watched Neil Gresham's Masterclass series. In the dozens of professional climbing comps I've watched, I've only seen it done twice, and one of those times was to establish a controlled position on a finish hold. Needless to say, it's a very seldom used technique. Regardless, in my experience, I have found a few instances where the inside flag did come in handy. These all occurred at the beginning of a boulder problem where it's easier to establish a starting position. Here on this orange V6, I have both hand and footholds on the left side, prompting me to use same side hand and foot. The foothold is slightly ahead of the handhold and is fairly high, which would imply that I ought to use a back flag. However, the second move involves me reaching up and across to the left with my right hand. Using the inside flag, my center of gravity is positioned slightly higher and closer to the wall, which makes the next move a bit easier to do than in the case of a back flag. To understand this a bit better, here is a side-by-side comparison of a similar setup on the start move of this blue V4. On the left, I use an inside flag which brings my hips higher and closer and allows me to do the move statically. On the right side, I use a back flag. This sags my hips and gives them a farther distance to travel, which now forces me to do the move a bit more dynamically. The choice of which flag to use, or whether you even want to involve a second foothold, can be as personal as your climbing style. In many situations, there tends to be more than just one right choice. Each technique has its pros and cons in any given scenario. It's really up to you to experiment with these techniques in different circumstances and see how they suit you best.